Good morning, my friends. This is Gina with Hope and Cope. I hope you're well today. Um, I have a topic for you today, and so the thought occurred to me to try to know your triggers. We know that the alcoholic, the addict can be triggered, but we also can be triggered. So try to recognize what your triggers are so that you can try very hard to stay peaceful in a situation where you know that someone else's behavior is harmful and maybe destructive, and you're very concerned about it. You would like to do something about it, but it's really something that's beyond your control. So try to recognize what are your triggers. So when I was thinking about this topic today, trying to prepare for it this morning, I remember asking my husband to call me, call me after work or things like that. Or I would try to call him on my lunch break or something. And that would really be a trigger to me if he didn't answer, or of course if he answered and he didn't sound quite right. Because when you really know someone, whether it's your spouse or your child, your mother, your father, you can really tell. And it's like when we're the family members of a person with addiction, we get a sixth sense. And it's really weird because part of us wants to live in denial and part of us doesn't want to see the signs. And then there's another part of us that's very heightened in our awareness of the slightest hesitation in their speech, the slightest difference in pitch, the slightest slur. And so that is just a weird oxymoron that we obtain when we are affected by someone else's disease. So, I just did myself a favor by just not asking him to call me, especially during work. He was away to rehab multiple times. Some of the rehabs, he did not have the freedom to make calls whenever he wanted. He had a certain window of time where he could use his phone or use the phone. And those times, were pretty dependable that he would take his turn at the phone and call me, and I would know kind of when that would be. But other times he would be in work programs and different things. He'd have his phone with him and he could call me whenever he wanted, and sometimes he did and sometimes he didn't, and that always was upsetting for me. And then whenever he'd be home from rehab, he I would think staying in touch, that's going to be helpful. If he knows I'm going to call or he knows I'm going to ask him to call me, that'll be an accountability. It really isn't. Trust me, it really isn't. If they get that urge to use, they're not going to think about, my call is not going to be the thing. This is my experience. My call is not going to be the thing that makes or breaks whether they have success or not in their addiction, in their recovery, in their victory over this urge to use today, right now. So, I just tried to set myself free from those kinds of triggers. I think I may have told you in the past that there were long periods of time where I set up a bed in a different room in our house and just made it into a bedroom. And because just sleeping with him, hearing him in a certain mode would be a trigger. If he was rousing and, using, I'm sorry, I got a little itch there. All those things were triggers to me. It was just easier for me to have a little more detachment even in the home so that I didn't have to lay awake and think, oh no, what's going on? Now that can still happen. You can be in a different room and that can still happen. But that little bit of distance and that, I would try to do my self-care and take care of myself and get myself to bed on time and have a good nighttime structure and say my prayers and read my Bible and those things and be in a peaceful state when I would go to sleep. And all that really seemed to help me to detach a little bit and not let those triggers like ruin my sleep. So I don't know if this is helpful to you, but please just try to identify your triggers. What are they? Just pick 2 or 3 triggers that you have and then try your best. This is just some advice. Try your best to eliminate them to the best of your ability so that you don't have to suffer any more than you have to. This is a disease where we're going to suffer. We are going to suffer from someone else's decisions. That's kind of not preventable unless you just instantly are able to detach, never see that person again, and never care about outcomes. And if that's you and you're in that specific situation with a specific relationship, you know, I can believe that can happen. But for others like me, where either you're not going to be able to turn the feelings off at an instance, and I chose to stay for a variety of reasons, then I had to kind of learn how to figure it out and be as productive and peaceful and healthy-minded, responsible, and engaged as I could be in my life and not let, okay, I've chosen to stay. Now, how can I stay and still be the best me that I can be? So one of those things was avoiding those triggers. So, or avoid setting myself up by, you know, walking right into those things. Now, maybe that would still be a trigger, of course, if, you know, I tried to reach my husband and I couldn't. I think, you know, maybe I've already mentioned before, but that was what happened the day of his actual car accident where he was paralyzed. I tried to call and he didn't answer. And then I tried to call after work and he didn't answer. And then I got a call from my daughter that he was in the hospital. And so, you know, it's painful. It's excruciatingly painful. But the day that that actually happened, I didn't have to suffer like that every single day. So we can figure out a strategy to bring some measure of peacefulness into our lives, because the truth is that was one of my worst nightmares, but it did only happen once. And so, you know, I had to call people at times, pray for me. I'm really struggling. I've got this fear. I can't reach him. And, you know, I'd be just really, really in a bad place. And then he'd call. And he'd probably be fine. A lot of the times he was just fine. So, of course, we go through PTS, right? We've been there before. We've had those experiences where things didn't turn out well. Now, those other times it wasn't a terrible car accident where he was paralyzed, but they were still, yes, he's using. That's why he's not answering the phone. That's why he's not going to answer the phone for another couple of days until all of his alcohol is gone. Then he'll sober up. Then he'll shower and eat and then go back out and find more alcohol. Well, you don't have to find it. It's at the liquor store. So anyway, so we are, you know, we've been conditioned because of our traumatic situations. So I'm just talking about how can you protect yourself. You know, for on this channel, I would like to help people in multiple ways. I'd like to help you understand addiction. I'd like to help you survive addiction. I'd like to help you be your best self through it. I'd like to help you have hope and to know how to improve your situation every day. And so, you know, this is just one of those topics about just how to help yourself on a day-to-day basis to suffer as little as possible. So I hope this was helpful. If it was, please like this video if you think this would help someone else, if they're being triggered by someone else's decisions and you know that it is unhealthy in their life and you think this would help them or this channel would help them, please share. And I would love your comments. I'm looking for comments down below so that I can get some ideas for some other videos. And I am new. I'm not a professional. I have a full-time job and a husband to take care of. But these videos are important to me, and I try to get to them every week. And it's a commitment I take very seriously, because if someone can get benefit from the things I have suffered, then I will feel like I didn't necessarily suffer in vain. That's not really the right way to put it, but that I'm taking the edge off for somebody else. I've forged a way. I've done a little bit to clear the path, just a little, to make the path just a little easier for the next one coming through. And that means something to me. I really want to help people. I really want to be a blessing. I really want to say something that maybe gets somebody through the day. And so pray for me as I pray for you. And if you have suggestions, I do want to hear them. If you can word them kindly and thoughtfully, I would appreciate it. And I know that I can improve these videos. Hopefully with time I won't be nervous, and hopefully with time I'll get some more YouTube skills. But until then, sorry I'm rambling. Until then, I love you, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.